things are looking up in nerddom. Pokemon Go is coming out, which I'm so excited about. Man, I cannot wait to get it. I'm gonna get one of those cool wristband things because they look really cool too. But that's not the point of the video. So I would like to share my thoughts and start a dialogue on the phrase Netflix and chill, because this phrase has been kind of circulating dating sites as well as just you know, our general public vocabulary for a while now. And also my work did a video on that phrase as well, but they kind of only scratched the surface level of it. I have a problem with this phrase simply because it kind of reflects just how indirect we can be about what we want when it comes to sex, specifically. I think we live in a society where there always has to be some kind of code for something whenever we have to ask for anything sexual. I think one of the reasons why Grindr and Jacked and Hornet are so big is just because they're all a bunch of people, these are all a bunch of people that in general want, that at least to some degree want sex from you, and it's really comforting to know that you never really have to ask for it, really, because people kind of know what you're there for. Nobody will ever say, hey, do you want to have sex? People will always say, hey, do you want to hook up? Do you want to hang out? Do you want to watch a movie? Do you want to, like, what are you on for? Possibly implying that they want to meet you just for sex, or they just want to know whether or not you're there for sex. I think we all develop like a twisted mindset, especially in this country, in America, that disinterest means that you have power over that person, and you know, power playing into sex and everything like that. If you don't say that you directly want to have sex, then that means that you still have some sort of power and that you can play off some sort of disinterest in order to have power over another person. And also, you know, if you directly ask for it, apparently it's supposed to come off as really desperate. You should be allowed to just ask, because that way there aren't any miscommunications. I've had a situation before where I was asked to go watch anime and hang out with this attractive person, and then it ended up not being anime, it ended up being bed sport. I wasn't objecting to it and I was consenting to it, but it would have been nice to arrive and know that, it would have been nice to, you know, take the trip knowing what I was getting into, and I didn't. And I think it's just a bigger reflection of just how indirect we can be with what we want, and it's kind of like rooted back in, I would say that it's rooted back in how bad our sex ed can be, in just saying that it's really bad, you should not ask, abstinence is the key, sex is gross and that you'll die from it. I think there's just still a lot of shame that comes from being physical sexual creatures, which is absolutely ridiculous. I'm a victim of it too, but it's still ridiculous. And I think the biggest problem is that it's gonna be so hard for somebody that's still discovering themselves, discovering their sexuality, and just discovering their sexual side, to kind of break into this scene, especially if they're LGBT. If somebody on Jacked or Grindr sees that phrase, then that probably means they're probably gonna take it literally, and they're probably gonna be in for the same surprise that I was when I was invited to watch anime with this one guy. If it's your first time and that kind of stuff is happening to you, you know, where you're expecting to just watch Netflix and then somebody whips their penis out, then it can be kind of a traumatizing experience, and it can probably turn people off into, you know, continuing to explore their sexuality. It's part of a much bigger problem. When this happens to a young person, when they get older, they're gonna start using the phrase Netflix and chill, and it's gonna kind of just continue to cycle through young, of age people discovering their sexuality in a very awkward and confusing way. And discovering yourself and discovering your sexuality is already such a difficult, awkward, awful thing to do, but it's totally necessary. And just like this whole code aspect of asking people, I think we're at a place in history where we can definitely afford to be a lot more liberal and a lot more direct and a lot more sex positive than that. So I think it's important to not use that phrase, to just say directly what you're looking for. Say that you want a friend with benefits, say you want a one-night stand, and I think it'll just start I think I'm already seeing that it's creating like a spiral of, you know, young people being traumatized by this, them not being as open about their sexuality as they could be, and then them because of that insecurity, they're going to start using code phrases like that, and then when they get older, they're gonna start saying, you know, using different code for younger people, and those younger people are going to be traumatized or confused. When it comes to sex, people try too hard to have tact. People try too hard to say what they want without actually saying it, and just hoping that people understand it because they don't want to actually say it because, oh, it's like, oh, that's gross. I think things would be a lot easier and we'd have a more healthy relationship with our sexuality if we were just more direct with stuff. I'm really curious to know whether or not I'm just being overly analytical and over social justice-y like I always am. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you later. Bye!